Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Star Citizen Alpha 3.20 on the PTU, so Wave 2 PTU, is currently testing out master modes in the experimental modes in Arena Commander. So basically you can select modes for like a PvP dogfight, or if you want to try Vandal Swarm, which I would not recommend for master modes currently, you can. So basically, Master Modes has very set modes for SCM mode, which is your combat mode, which goes, you have your weapons and your shields and they power up and pew pew pew, but you can't quantum travel, which is not necessarily particularly relevant in Arena Commander, but also in Nav mode, you can, which is the other mode, you can go beyond your top SCM speed. So you can't go particularly fast in SCM mode, but you can in Nav mode. But in Nav mode, you don't have your shields and you don't have your weapons, so you're very vulnerable. Master modes also have a huge suite of other changes for aiming and for combat and for the flight model and loads of stuff. There's a load of AI updates. I can't really talk about how it feels properly at the moment because the pips aren't there. You can't aim properly. You have to aim with just your eyeballs and no other sort of sense of where your shots are going. You can run auto gimbals and you can sort of, the aim assist is pretty good with it, but you'd have to, put a little marker on your monitor or just be good at aiming. I want to use my pips. I want to use an aiming system. So that will be added a little bit later on in the PTU. A lot of the movement changes feel quite subtle, but they do change the way that you move around, that you follow ships. Everything feels a lot smoother. The fact that you're going to be locked into combat, basically, when you're pointing your face, when you're pointing your nose of your ship at a target, you're typically going to be engaging in combat. And once you've started to engage in combat, once you're in SCM mode, well, if you want to switch to nav mode to try and get away, that puts you in a huge amount of danger because your shields are going to go down. Everything feels much less jousty because if you've got your weapons on, you're not going to be going super fast. If you do joust a little bit, then it's at much, much shorter ranges. There's a load more ballistic ammo, which I think is a big win. There's still a huge amount of work to do from Cloud Imperium with this, but once we've got the actual pips in, once we've got a bit of aiming in, I will give some more detailed feedback. Avenger 1 has done a fantastic video explaining how the sort of old system and new systems work, and he's going to be doing much more detailed stuff, so I will link him down below. Go check him out. But what I will talk about now is sort of Cloud Imperium patch notes for master modes and what they've actually added for the Wave 2 PTU and what they've got sort of planned for 3.20 in general in regards to experimental modes and master modes being tested on it. So, experimental versions of Free Fly, Dual and Special Endless version of Vandal Swarm will play host to a collection of features that update our flight model. The original game modes will be unaffected and remain playable. Dubbed Master Modes, this feature encompasses many changes to our flight systems. Master Modes includes several new features. Aiming version 2, new gimbal behaviors, new aiming UI for pips, auto gimbals, crosshairs, etc. Obviously, currently no proper aiming in the current PTU test of it. Targeting version 2, new targeting behaviors with new keybinds, auto targeting, targeting brackets, flight tuning, and a newly updated UI that comes with that. Speed is now limited while in SCM mode. Use of Afterburner can slightly push you above SCM speed as long as players have boost capacitor with greater push in the forward vector. The new nav mode, that disables weapons and shields but gives you access to high top speeds. Swapping between modes has a spool up period. Gladius. So this has updated ship tunings to go with this mode, and the only ship you can use in these tests is the Gladius with a specific loadout. Weapon capacitor pool is increased in baseline, but regen is less impacted by priority triangle. Ammo for the Mantis is higher. Old gimbal system of weapon size going down 1 to accommodate gimbals has been replaced with a flat 20% reduction in fire rate on the same weapons, allowing fixed and gimbal on size 3 for the Gladius. A nice interesting change to gimbals, which I think I'll quite like. I mean, it will require testing, right? Targeting bracket has been updated. Central HUD symbology for targeting has changed, including bore sight, orientation, arrow, gimbal designation, and pips. I'm looking forward to actually seeing all of that in the future. Flight model changes. Tricording is not possible anymore. The strongest acceleration axis is forward. So previously, tricording effectively allows you to move in 3 axes at the same time to improve your speed and sort of maneuverability. Pitch and yaw can't be combined anymore. The Gladius agility was increased. Boost and regen have been adjusted. So, master modes. Press B to swap between nav and SCM mode. SCM will allow you higher capacity regen rates, shields, and weapons, but restricts max speed. Thruster boost and afterburn will temporarily allow you to extend beyond SCM boundaries of speeds. Nav allows you high speed, but also no shields or weapons. It also heavily restricts regen rates. Swapping between master modes is not immediate. Shield face health is stored in a buffer up to a certain ratio when going from SCM to Nav mode. When going from Nav to SCM, that buffer will quickly be pushed back into the faces. The shield face generation from that buffer cannot be interrupted by incoming fire. This is actually quite good because if you go back into SCM mode after being in Nav mode, you will quite quickly regain your shield. Obviously, as it's a buffer, you can't use it to really quickly, cleverly regen your shield. There's some gunnery changes as well. New aiming system is enabled. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. Combined fixed assist was removed. Fixed assist per gun was added. Auto gimbal mode. Instead of keeping the target in an 8-degree cone, you only need to keep the target roughly around your aim point and your gimbals will track. When auto gimbals are not tracking, they act like manual gimbals. Fixed mode. There is 1 pip per projectile speed group. You will see 1 pip for each type of weapon. Manual gimbal modes now have access to fixed assist for each gun. They've added a couple of options, so precision lines for fixed and manual gimbal mode, auto gimbal display, focused on average pip or focused on target with gimbal position indicators, a new target bracket, drastically increased ballistic ammo, removed the N1 system, and S3 or size 3 gimbal will now hold a size 3 gun. There is custom weapon stats for the Gladius weaponry at the moment. Shield layouts for the Gladius is now front and back. Targeting changes. Button changes. R targets the closest hostile. T cycles hostiles in view. And 5 cycles all targets in view. Auto-targeting, if no target is present, or if you press left, alt, and R, the closest visible hostile will be targeted. Targets will automatically swap if better targets are in view. Any manual target control will cancel that process. They've added bindings to allow setting the default convergence distance directly from an input axis. However, there's no UI for this yet. And they've added bindings to suppress aim assist if the button is held. Use it when you feel that aim assist works against you. So on paper, I like a load of those changes. I really love the idea of Nav mode versus SCM mode. I want people to be engaged in combat when they're engaged in combat. I am not sure how you're going to catch players that are flying away from you in Nav mode though. How are you going to stop them? If they see you coming, you're closing in on them, you're going to have to switch to SCM mode, and they can just, as soon as you're coming near them, they can go in Nav mode and just fly off. Now, is there going to be a way of slowing them down? Are missiles going to be extremely, terrifying because someone could just fire a missile after you? Are there going to be weapons with incredibly long ranges and really, really, really sort of fast velocities that you can use to try and take people out of Nav mode? Are we going to have Weber fires like they've got in Eve? Obviously, there are dampeners for quantum, but that's not going to stop you going in these very, very fast beyond SCM speeds. But let's say you're locked in combat when you're locked in combat. Cool. Actually, really like that idea. I also like the idea of less jousting. The general flight and movement feels really good. I was very scared when I was messing around and testing in the Infinite Wave Vandal Swarm mode because Vandal just keep on spawning in. They don't wait for you to finish off a wave. They just keep on spawning in. It's interesting with the gimbal changes going, look, you can have a size 3 weapon on a size 3 gimbal, but there's a 20% reduction in fire rate. On paper, looks really good, but we need to test it properly. And I do recommend people, as soon as the targeting's working, test it a lot more. Obviously, in the PTU phase, it is a testing of a test. So they're just trying to get that test in a position where it can be tested by a larger group of people and then they can give feedback. So give them some time to get this. I probably won't be giving a huge amount of feedback on master modes until 3.20 is live, but I'll certainly talk about it more casually until then. Loads of changes there. And it's hard to be able to quantify if all of them are good or not, but I like the idea of what they're doing, as I said, and I'm really interested to know what you think. What do you think of master modes on paper? Have you seen anyone else explain them? Genuinely go and watch some of Avenger 1's videos on this stuff. He explains it really well. He is a really good PvP pilot, but he understands how stuff moves and explains it in layman's terms, but also at a level that you could learn to then become an expert eventually. Yeah, I'm really interested to know what you think in the comments below. Tell me what you think about the talk of the new gimbals and the new aiming system. Do you really like the idea of these new master modes? Do you think it's CIG's silver bullet for their flight model and combat system? Or do you think it needs a huge amount more work? Or do you think it's a really terrible idea? Whatever your thoughts, comments below. Thanks very much. For those of you that are keeping your eyes peeled, you will have noticed that the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 is on sale again until the 8th of September. They are natively supported in Star Citizen, giving you precision, head and eye tracking that can help with immersion, as well as adding another level of control to your toolset. It's a cool piece of tech that you can use for streaming and seeing where your eyes are going, and loads of other games are supported too. Check out my links below to get one of those at discount. Are we alone in the universe? The truth is out there, but what if aliens visit Earth? But they're like monsters, and all they do is look through your internet history, judging you, laughing at you with all their alien friends, watching your every move live, and then they send like 1 million ads to you about alien products that you don't want, like those shoes and socks that have a gap between your big toes. No one needs that. But what you do need is nordvpn.com/BoredGamer, which helps you prevent that happening from the more real threat of humans doing the same. It encrypts your internet connection, hides your IP address and location, it has an inbuilt ad blocker, and also helps you gain access to region-based content. You should go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer and get a big old discount. You can also click the links below. Every month, we have a ship giveaway. For August, it's for a Crusader Mercury Star Runner with lifetime insurance. This medium-sized, well-armed cargo and data hauler is great for trying out a huge range of what Star Citizen has to offer, a perfect mission runner ship. To be in for a chance of winning, just comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details in the description below. There are some amazing people that help support the channel by clicking on the join button under my videos and becoming a channel member or becoming a Patreon with the links below. That helps keep the channel going and producing daily content. Please consider joining their ranks, but commenting, liking, subscribing, that all massively helps too. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the verse.